All right, good. We're live now. All right. Good morning, everybody. Morning, Mike. So what we have this morning to look at. So we got some financial numbers, economic numbers this morning on the economy, and labor costs are up 10, almost 11%. Costs of doing business, I guess you could say, on the labor side, seeing around near 11% inflation. So that creates real pressures on business. Surprisingly, though, we're not really seeing much of a reaction on the market. And tomorrow, we get CPI. We get the next CPI print. That will be very interesting to see how inflation was in July. The consensus is that it was 8.7%. It was 9.1%, remember, previously. And consensus is that it's come down to 8.7%. It's forecasted also to 9.1% again. So anything more than 9.1% is going to create a reaction on the market. So we'll see that tomorrow before the market opens, about half an hour before the market opens, or an hour before the market opens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be waiting for it. So today, though, we've got the numbers in that inflation still is putting pressures on the marketplace, and especially in business cost to do business. It has gone up now due to labor. Is that an actual spike that I'm seeing? Okay, no, that's some kind of just glitch on the SPY. Yeah, so the market itself, the growth market, is probably not going to move. The entire market today is probably not going to move that much. Because why would you move any direction either or before the train comes, the CPI train tomorrow morning? However, people will probably be taking some profits just to take risk off the table in front of the CPI number print. So it may be a selling day today, but on light volume, and you might see a lot of positions that were running just get into take some profit off the top mode. That is probably likely what is going to happen. We are opening below yesterday's low on the Qs and right at the prior day's low. So this is about the third day in a row now of topping on the Qs on the growth market. And if we move over to the S&P 500, this is about the 7th session in a row of hanging out in this area, this prior congestion zone that we were in. And also there's some resistance from back in January and March as well in that same area. So there's a lot of resistance here, and we expected this to be hanging out in this area for a while. We were either going to reject off it and get sent way back down, or we were going to continue to cut through it a bit. I think the release of the economic data tomorrow on the inflation numbers will finally release the market out of the congestion zone. Whether that's a rejection or a continuation, we'll see. We just don't know that. And the Dow also still cutting through that congestion zone. TTOO, huh? Volume is very high in pre-market. Okay, yeah. I'll pull that up. Thanks. TTOO. So it doesn't even. It makes very little point to talk about, say, rates, but the rates are currently 2.8% on the 10-year, and then gold is at about 18.15 right now, and oil at 92. I think both oil and gold are in a downtrend, and any positive days are just part of a pullback in a downtrend. Take a look at gold here. Gold's been on a rally, but really it's still part of a longer term downtrend channel that it's in. So if anything now is getting close to a point, short it along the top edge of that channel. Let me draw that really quick for anybody who didn't catch that the other day. That for which gold is kind of breaking out, but you know, these channels can be somewhat subjective, the price levels of these channels. And it may be just a really great spot to be shorting for a longer term position in a macro portfolio, ideally for a macro move. All right, so that brings us to individual stock momentum picks this morning. Yeah, somebody just mentioned TTOO is flying, and it was at about almost 13 cents at the close of yesterday. It's now at almost 16 cents. So it's up a smidge there. What is that? 23%. But VRNA is the big one. VRNA pharmaceutical. I do not know what the news is going on that. If anybody wants to look it up or let me know. VRNA, but it is pharmaceutical, and I'm assuming it's probably monkeypox or vaccine related. But it could be something else. But it's been bought up consistently all morning. It was at 6.7 and it's now hitting almost 15. I brought it to our attention at around 12. It's now at around 15. So it's more than double. It's over 100% since yesterday's close. So that's pretty hot. Let's take a look at that on the daily. So that's the highest it's been in roughly like 4 years. It got this hot only one time before in March of 2018. So what that means is that at the open, there's going to be plenty of people taking profits. And if it still ends up going up, that means there's just a ton of demand, right? Just think about it that way. And it's cutting through all of those sell orders. So let's be watching it at the open. The open of the market is in 7 minutes. Well, JR posts the following. Got to double check that that's the news from this morning, JR. $219 million strategic collaboration to develop and commercialize ensifentrine in Greater China. Interesting. That doesn't make any sense at all, but okay. Oh, Jesus, I knew it. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. Mike is saying positive phase 3 COPT data. You wouldn't see a move, JR, like that. So smooth because of that. Anyway, watch the open. This definitely could be worthwhile day trading. Oh, did you? All right, man. Jump, yeah. And your question is it weekly access from the day you sign? It is, Jump Rope. Yeah, so, you know, you get full access, though. So you can learn as fast or as slow as you want. From there, you get full access. It's not like released in subsequent order or anything. You just total access. You can do a data dump to your brain and make it however valuable you want. I do recommend that you totally absorb the risk section. Very good section on risk, especially the 1% rule. Everybody needs the 1% rule in their life. All right, so that's VRNA, and then we're also looking at what else was it that was moving? TTOO. TUEM has a decent chart going on, but not as good as VRNA. TUEM, and it's running into recent congestion, so I think TUEM has less of a chance, a lot more resistance than VRNA. VRNA is basically 4-year blue sky right now. So looking pretty decent. The thing is, people are going to take profits. Whether it's partial or full, doesn't matter. They're going to take some profits. They're not going to let that fishy get off the hook. And so, if it continues to push up from there at the market open after 5-10 minutes, that's an extremely positive sign for long price direction on VRNA. Almost nothing's really been following through. Almost nothing on the momentum market since Friday. So I don't expect it to follow through. But if it does, be ready, be there or be square. What's going to happen to the market after the political weaponry of the FBI? I mean, that's just such a loaded statement. And I just don't think that the FBI, and the political moves have anything to do with business or the economy in the U.S. right now. That's a very short-term political situation. So I don't think that that's really going to affect the markets right now. We have bigger geopolitical things going on, and I think we have economics of the economy, and we have business and business cycle and consumer spending and and demand and we have so many more things controlling the market. I think that's just a bit of a loaded statement, to want to try and talk about that topic. And I am all for talking about it, but it just makes no sense. We don't need to. It's not going to affect the market today, in my opinion. I don't think it detracts from any kind of liquidity going on in the market. If anything, right now we're coming off of lows on the market. So it just can't get much worse right now in the market. And we're attracting people to the market inch by inch. Nah, but today might be red, but for other reasons, not because of that. And also, the market's really not going to move much today because we have CPI inflation coming tomorrow in the morning, and it's like a deer being caught in the headlights. It wants to know if the truck is going to swerve or if it should move. That's kind of like where people are at right now. There's a CPI coming up. So we're watching that one close, and also Hillbillies, which is actually HLBZ, HLBZ, is up and active this morning. That's another day trade momentum type stock doing its own thing regardless of the market. All right, so American Bulldog, too bad. So if you keep going on and on about that, we're not going to be able to have you in the room. So that's your opinion. That's good, and you can be as loud as you want about it, but not in here. But thank you for your opinion. Not 99.99% of the planet is not you, by the way. Just a reminder. 99.9999% of the planet is not you. So anyway, I'm done talking about that. If you go into that again, I'm going to have to take you out of the room. Do you ever listen to earnings calls anymore, or strictly charts? I don't listen to earnings calls, but sometimes. But I definitely look at fundamentals. I want to know if a company is turning in hot numbers over the last quarter or multiple quarters or years. And then I look at the chart and I see, no, this chart looks like shit, so just never mind. Or, oh yeah, this chart's set up and it looks like it's doing good, so let's get in here. So I definitely take that into consideration. All right, we got about 15 seconds until the market opens. Let's see what happens here on the market. We do believe it's going to be a selling day as people take risk off before the CPI print tomorrow morning. I got an alert on Netflix and Pepsi. All right, be watching VRNA, guys, to try, if you're a momentum trader, to try to get any kind of entrance if you're looking for an entrance. Morning, Luke. And Tech Charts, everybody, welcome. Going to expect a softer day today, but probably a red day. Pepsi, Volta. Volta doing good, I guess, because Blink reported some bad earnings, and I guess that's a market share move. Are penny stocks worth getting? Oh, hey, Reanimated Mind, good morning, and Cindy Smith, good morning. Yeah, sometimes I don't see you guys for a minute. You're in TH, that's breaking down. You don't want to be in TH anymore. That was a penny stock trade I think we were in. Public storage. Storage not moving too much. I got a small alert on that. Yes. Yeah, APDN, let's see. KRTX hanging out where it's hanging out. APDN starting to move up, guys. That was another one. That's true. TTOO not really happening. VRNA is holding at 1420-ish. You know? VRNA. I mean to say. Right at the open, we had some real whiplash move on GDRX. NLSN, no, if you could DTC, what's at the top of the list over there on that new MRSN? MRSN. MRSN. Your swim can take a while to pull up the initial chart. Netflix continuing to pull back. I'm going to cut that. Well, let me take a look at the open. We already know. All right, we're 3 minutes into the session. And VRNA is still holding at about 14. We're not seeing any momentum move there, and this is to be expected. Yeah, MRSN actually did break pre-market highs. It may be halting. No, not yet, but it's definitely making a strong move from 6 to 671 now. MRSN. Que marcados opera, bro. What market are we operating? The U.S. markets. U.S. Stock Exchange. American markets, whatever you want to call it. KRTX. Woo! What a break on KRTX. And there's a lot of potential there on KRTX. From the move yesterday, this would be ER day 2 continuation entry for swing trade. And there is potential momentum day trade available there as well. KRTX day 2 ER continuation entrance. And I'd put the risk at 240, so stop at 240, so about $10 of risk. You heard Apple shareholders are dumping today. What do I think? Let's see. Well, at the moment, that does not look like the case. So remember, always trade with your eyes and not with your ears. UNH with a pretty nice tight setup here. I just want to get a quick measurement on it. Oh, that's nice. 3% risk. Yeah, I'll be alerting that right now. UNH, United Health. Stop at 528. $15 of risk on UNH. $15 of risk. Swing 100 style trade. It means that our multiples, when you have a tight setup like that, it means our multiples are more extraordinary because we're having a small risk unit compared to potentially, maybe 60 points of gain could come in here. So that would be a 4-to-1. KRTX, yep, sitting at 252-ish. We're starting to get some price increase on VRNA. If anybody's in the RMO trade with me, that's an exit this morning. That's our first lower low print. And so that's the trade for me on RMO. That trade is now over. I will put an alert on it to let me know it's up above that level. Wow, KRTX hitting 257 now. Day 2 ER continuation entry. Hopefully you got it. Really happening. / day trade that puppy. KRTX. VRNA now at 1427 and increasing. Yeah, Reto, thank you. Reto, RETO, making its way up. And if it can get over $1.20, it's that'd be a confirmation that it's on fire with demand. Novavax filling the gap on that huge drop that it experienced this morning around flattening and plateauing at around 39. It's now at 43. So that huge price decrease is being bought up initially here. But this still doesn't mean it can't roll over the next few days and go down, but it presents a nice risk reward trade for a swing trade or a day trade. And, you can't win a fight if you don't get in the ring. So now a look at the markets. They are slightly red, as expected. That today would be a day of taking risk off the table before running into tomorrow's numbers, where we might get a snap reaction in volatility because of the CPI print inflation. Financials are doing good, and so are utilities. So that's a defensive day, and so is healthcare. So it looks completely defensive because base materials, industrials, communications, discretionary, and technology are all trending down on the day. But utilities, healthcare, and financials up. So that's both inflationary and defensives doing well. There's a breakout somewhere or something. That was Reto, guys. That was RETO. Got a pre-market breakout around 1.3, 1.2, and it broke, and it's now at 1.3. Could be running into halt levels. Profit taking, yeah. I mean, that's already actually been happening the last 3 or 4 sessions. Lots of, taking off at the top, topping type action, which is usually profit taking after an extension from an earlier lower purchase levels. What we're seeing now, I believe, is de-risking. So taking more off, but not just for the reasons of profit taking, but for removing risk from capital, from removing your capital from being exposed to risk. MRSN putting in a new high right now, 688. KRTX is pulled back to 248. At the end of the market yesterday, I put a hedge on against my positions. And it's a good idea in these markets these days to go ahead and just put some hedge on at the end of every day. You can take it off the next day if you need to. And that protected me from this drop, differential. Those. Does everybody understand how to do that? How to put a hedge on? I mean, some of you who might be new have a question about that. Oh, good job, Chowder. Yeah. And, if you can afford it, it's better to get more time. So you have very little worries about theta, decaying on you. Because, I mean, realistically, it's strange to think about, but if you get a 7-day to expiration or even a 30-day to expiration option to hedge with for an overnight hedge, it sounds so silly, but that's because you're intending not to divide up any of the extrinsic value of it, the premium, by a small number. You want it divided by a big number. So if there's 30 days left, you're only going to lose 1/30th to time decay overnight. But if you buy a 1 day to expiration, you're going to lose half the value of what you put in for the hedge or more overnight in theta decay. Make sense? I mean, so a lot of people try to teach you options, and it's explained so mechanically and academically, and it just doesn't make sense. When you just think about it, if you're going to rent a car and you're getting anyway, that's not the best example, but if something costs you X amount of money for 30 days, then 1 day's worth of that is going to be 1/30th of that cost. That's, obviously not exactly true, but it's damn close. And it does work. Because that is a correct, theory on it. Well, somebody asked, how do you hedge? And I mean, you can buy options that are called puts, and they will make money if the thing goes down. Now, if you're in positions, or if you're in that particular position, then the puts you bought will offset the loss that you would have. So you can hold your position. It's one way you can hold a position through a sketchy period without having to sell it. So there's many ways to use options and hedges. That bring was APDN. APDN popping and breaking pre-market highs. APDN is now at 577. We're getting some new highs just about on Reto. It's at 128. KRTX is hanging out around 250. Neogenomics, somebody mentions. Let's see. Okay, so they had some earnings report this morning, and they're up on that sentiment and breaking bottom pivots, putting in a bottom reversal. So yeah, that's a decent looking trade there if it holds up. But there's a lot of recent congestion, so I don't know enough about the situation on NEO, but it looks good. Hillbillies. HLBZ is heading to 2.2. Well, thank you. Yeah. You said good traders don't have to promote their shit on TikTok. Well, then I thank you very much because I have so much to promote that I'm not promoting. Thank you. NVAX is working its way up on that gap fill. How do you get the NVAX gap fill swing trade idea? I think that, could work out. Good risk reward there. Yeah, no personal insult, he says. I'm just annoyed because so many do it. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. It's annoying. It is annoying. But not if, you're at that place in life. Like, Jordan Belfort says, sell me this pen. And everybody's like, well, it's beautiful and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, 1 out of 100 people need a pen. And the real question to ask is, so how long have you been in the market for a pen? And 99% of people say, I'm not, so then fuck you. And then, 1% of people are like, well, I've been looking for like the last 2 weeks and blah, blah. So, 99% of people will be annoyed by that kind of stuff. But the whole reason it even exists is to reach that 1% who are looking. And the rest of you guys, fuck you. It's like too bad. That's just life. Just life, folks. MRSN looking like it's about to break 7. It's at 696. Put in a 699 print. What do you think about MRSN long term? I don't know. Let's take a look. Versana Therapeutics. Anything pharmaceutical, I think, is a horrible, terrible, awful idea long term. Everything. Even Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, any of these small cap pharmaceuticals, all bad ideas to invest in. Yeah, you'd have to be a biotech trading expert really to know how to handle that. But anyway, for a day trade or a swing trade, yeah, there can be something there. And right now, yeah, MRSN just broke over $7, guys. It's at 708. Mersana and GlaxoSmithKline ink a $1.4 billion buyback deal. Bio-buck deal? Or is that supposed to be buyback for cancer-focused therapy? Bio-buck deal? Yeah, if you look at GlaxoSmithKline over the years, you can really see that we need to call them GlaxoSmith Decline. It would be the better, that's what I call them. GlaxoSmith Decline. MRSN now hit 7.2. Norvax, as somebody says. Take a look at You must be talking about Novavax, but I'm going to look here and see if there's something called Norvax. I'm not seeing a Norvax, but maybe you meant Novavax. And yeah, we were just talking about that. Decent gap down, and now filling the gap. And as expected, today is just not a big sell-off day, but it is selling as people adjust their risk. Institutions adjust their risks going into the inflation report tomorrow. If you want to follow these momentum trades on the day, if you like momentum day trading, you can head over to the momentum channel in our group. And but the rest of us, we can hang out in the active trader lounge and the member chat area. But I think that puts us in the right spot for the morning, guys. We've got this market wrapped around our finger. Watching out for risk, and we know where to take risks and where not to take risks, right? Okay. So have a good morning, everybody, and I'll see you in the group over in the member chat area or the momentum area, and watch the alerts in Swing 100 and chart trader alerts and everybody's alerts. I think, any opportunity right now, you should look at carefully because making money on the market's difficult at the moment. Welcome. Have a good morning, everybody. See you soon. Thank you for the join. Whoever that was. Thank you. All right. Catch you guys in there. Member chat area, momentum area.